In January 2024, we launched Bevel to the App Store. We set out an ambitious goal of creating something that puts you in charge of your health. In just under 2 years, we have shipped over hundreds of features and reached over 100,000 daily active users. What surprises most people, though, is how a small team like ours can build something this ambitious. I want you to meet some of the people who made Bevel what it is today and give you insight into how we move as a team. First, everything we build starts with experimentation.
When designing nutrition, we had over 15 different versions. Big drastic change was the logging experience. The user could only log a food at a time, but then we changed it to users could have compound foods where they could add ingredients. And then a smaller one is how we originally just had recipes, but then we eventually developed it to include custom foods and historical foods. The nickname of this project is it's a monster project, or I call it a monster of a project. We knew that we wanted to include diet tracking within our app, but users had a lot of different ways to log food. We had to really think about how do we make all these flows very smooth, but also very distinct in their own way. But I also don't think it's something we have to wrap up. I feel like there are a lot of improvements that we want to make to it and a lot of ideas from the team. For now, we're just trying to make things better.
The thing that is important for us is spending time writing code, building the product, testing the product, and making sure that it's as good as it can be, and everything else is secondary. We spend a lot of time on the engineering side, making sure that throughout the development process, as we're testing it ourselves, working with beta testers, we can go through and do the third or fourth or fifth iteration of it as quickly as possible. And that requires us to be very disciplined in the way that we design the engineering and how we design our components. So that it's not just the fastest thing we can get that meets the spec, but it's something that's very intentionally designed to kind of match the logic of what we're building.
Experimentation alone isn't enough. We had to build a culture of efficiency. So, how do we stay efficient?
We used to split up the work where one person would do the underlying logic and a different person would do the UI. But we found that the person doing the UI would have to go back and change some of that underlying logic. So it just made sense and it was a lot more efficient if one person owned a feature from start to finish. When you're in charge of a feature, you have influence over the final product design. During the engineering process, if you come across edge cases that maybe weren't talked about, you have the decision-making power to change that without having to jump through a bunch of hoops in order to make that change happen. For big features, we still work closely together on those, but the smaller sub-features within those big features, each engineer is fully in charge of. You really want to be effective though, building these features, you have to understand the end user. So we'll typically go to Amanda for help on that.
Everyone on the team can see what our users are saying on Reddit, our socials, or our public feedback board. So we're always in tune with what our users need. My role is to bridge these voices with our design and engineering teams, and I really help translate these priorities into features that we can build that align with where Bevel is headed. So for example, we're actively working on menstrual cycle tracking. Even though most of our users are men, we've heard from our users who menstruate that they need more support, not just in tracking their cycles, but also in understanding how their cycles might impact things like their recovery and their fitness. It's important to keep a tight feedback loop to make sure we're building the right thing for the right people so that we're not missing anything that might be critical to their experience. Overall, the team always knows why they're building something and who it's for.
And sometimes, the best way to understand someone's experience is to share it. We use Bevel the same way our community does, which keeps our empathy grounded in real experience and not just in theory.
I think by using the app, you uncover those kinds of possible confusions that someone might run into, whereas a lot of those details would be lost if we weren't actually using products. I developed a knee injury. I went through this whole process of seeing a doctor. All in all, it was almost a month long to get this done. When I was building out the strength building, I plugged in my symptoms in the Bevel Intelligence, and then within 30 seconds, I was recommended the same exact routine. I really think we can empower people and also, reach a wider audience of people that we are empowering.
I'm an actual power user of Bevel, and although I love it, there's some things that I would really like changed or added. When I was applying for Bevel, I was just trying to think of ways that I could stand out in the application process. The idea that came to mind was make a mini demo app in which I would incorporate some of the features that I wish Bevel had. Ultimately, it was just some version of like the workout tracker that we're building now. I don't know how much I can say. It's gonna get a lot better and a lot more comprehensive. But overall, I think like this idea of like building more parts and more features that like encapsulate someone's entire health journey, it just seems like pretty cool that like we're building a product that like actually improves people's lives.
And that's Bevel. Hopefully, this gave you a better sense of who we are as a team and how much care goes into every single detail. When I started Bevel last year, I never imagined it would have resonated with so many people from all over the world. With your trust and support, we've been able to grow the team, build more, and ship faster. Now, if the vision for Bevel resonates with you and you want to work on something that touches people's lives in a real and meaningful way, check out our careers page to learn more. Thank you for making it this far, and we'll see you in the next one.